is it? What is it, Jeezy?
Where your favorite rapper at? I don't see that.
World
I'm in the streets. Look behind me.
World star name.
Yeah, hip hop. Look at my hand. Crip.
One thing about Rick Ross, drama always seems to chase him down. Just one bar from one of his songs had him caught up with one of the most feared gangs in the game. And to make it worse, that same line dragged him straight into a heated feud with none other than young Jeezy. When these two camps finally crossed paths, it didn't stay lyrical. It got messy, fast. What started as a rap beef turned into a real-life street showdown that shook the industry. Let's break it down. The whole tension kicked off back in the summer of 2010, and it all started over one track. Ross's Monster hit BMF, blowing money fast. That joint was everywhere, blasting in clubs, cars, and corners, with Ross spitting loud, "I think I'm Big Meech, Larry Hoover." It was meant to salute the legends of the streets, but there was a huge problem. Jeezy wasn't just talking about BMF in his songs. He was connected to them for real. See, Jeezy actually had history with Big Meech himself. Way before he was a superstar, back in the early 2000s, Meech was showing him real love, putting him on, helping him move through the right circles, and getting him the shine he needed to take off. That connection wasn't made for publicity. It came from genuine loyalty and respect. So when Ross dropped that track and started flexing the BMF name like it was a costume, a lot of folks in the streets felt it was pure disrespect. To Jeezy and those who knew the real story, that line wasn't just a lyric, it was a bold move into territory he didn't belong in. So when Ross dropped BMF and started chanting names like Big Meech and Larry Hoover, Jeezy wasn't having it. To him, it looked like Ross was cashing in on a life he never lived. Not long after that record blew up, Jeezy clapped back with his own joint, The Real BMF, just to set the record straight. Jeezy even slid in a real phone call from Big Meech himself, where Meech basically called out fake affiliations. It was slick, but the message was loud. Ross wasn't part of that circle. Then Jeezy doubled down with Death Before Dishonor, a freestyle over Ross's own beat, dropping sharp lines like, "How you blowing money fast? You don't know the crew." It wasn't an all-out diss, but it cut deep, a warning that not everyone can wear that BMF badge like a fashion trend. Ross later spoke on it, calm and collected, saying he didn't get what Jeezy's problem was. According to Ross, blowing money fast was just a mindset, not a personal claim to anybody's story. Ross tried to downplay it at first, saying it wasn't a real beef, but the tension was definitely building. Jeezy even came out denying that The Real BMF was a diss, claiming people were reading too deep into it. He said he just jumped on the beat for fun, out of respect for the music, nothing more. "It's not a diss," Jeezy said. "What I'm gonna get out of dissing that guy?" He even added that if Ross felt hit, that was just insecurity talking, but the calm didn't last long. A few months later, Ross dropped his own diss, "The Summer's Mine," and this time he went straight for Jeezy's neck. Ross rapped, "You throwing up sets, but you really from Cleveland? You just affiliated? Really a water boy?"
And then he did the BMF song over, and they was beefing off of that, remember? He had and then Jeezy did the BMF song.
The shots weren't subtle anymore. It was official beef. Then 2 years later, all that lyrical smoke turned physical. October 2012, the BET Hip Hop Awards in Atlanta, Ross and Jeezy's tension finally exploded backstage. According to reports, it all kicked off inside the Atlanta Civic Center, and when their entourages crossed paths, chaos broke out instantly. The industry had never seen a rivalry between two heavyweights get that real. Right in the middle of the BET Awards, chaos broke loose. Both Ross and Jeezy pulled up with deep crews, and what started as words got heated quick. A little pushing, a few shoves, and boom, the whole backstage erupted. Security was scrambling, people were yelling, and the tension was wild. But it didn't stop there. The fight spilled straight into the parking lot. Things got even crazier as entourages jumped in and police had to lock down parts of the venue around 7:30 p.m. just to keep things from exploding. Rumors hit social media instantly. Hot 97's Funkmaster Flex even tweeted that shots were fired and arrests were made, setting Twitter on fire. When police finally cleared the scene, they confirmed no shots, no arrests, and no serious injuries. But the drama had already gone viral. To make it even more surreal, the whole thing went down while a tribute to Chris Lighty was playing on stage. Fans inside had no idea a real brawl was unfolding outside. They just felt the tension shift in the air. Days later, stories started pouring out. Jeezy's bodyguard, Dredd, claimed he snatched Ross's chains during the chaos and said when he got them tested, they turned out to be fake. Instead of keeping them, he claimed he flipped them for cash and bought himself an AK-47. The streets couldn't stop talking after that one. Jeezy didn't seem too shaken after the whole BET brawl. When he sat down with Big Boy on Power 106, he brushed it off like it was nothing. He said the show was actually great and that he and Ross just crossed paths in the hallway for the first time ever. According to Jeezy, they exchanged words, but nothing crazy went down. If it was gonna get handled, that was the time, he said, but it didn't need to go there. Jeezy kept it real. He wasn't about to fake beef for clout. He called out rappers who act like characters just to sell records, saying he wasn't into that WWF propaganda. I'm a boss. I'm a G. That's just how it is, he said confidently. Over time, things cooled off. By 2014, both men decided to move past it, thanks to a few peacekeepers in the game. T.I. had a real heart-to-heart with Jeezy, reminding him no serious damage had been done. If nothing happened that we can't fix, T.I. told him, then let's fix it before something does. Around the same time, DJ Khaled stepped in as a mediator, arranging a sit-down between the two rappers. Jeezy later admitted he couldn't even remember what started the beef in the first place. I don't even know what we beefing over, he told Khaled. And that convo finally ended one of hip-hop's longest-running rivalries. Soon after, Ross and Jeezy shocked everybody by teaming up for War Ready on Ross's Mastermind album. That collab marked the official end of their drama and showed real growth from both sides. Ross even called the whole feud a lot of misconfusion, saying their link-up wasn't just about peace, it was about doing something for the culture.
Though, he took a deep breath. When he stepped up, he had to face me, though, to get to Jeezy. And when he stepped up, I yanked his chains off.
But here's the real twist. Jeezy's original beef with Ross started out of loyalty to BMF, and years later, that same loyalty would come back around when Jeezy ended up falling out with the very crew he once defended. Back in the early days, young Jeezy was still that hungry street rapper trying to break through. He had the voice, the grind, and the story, but not the reach. That's where Big Meech stepped in. Meech saw the realness in Jeezy, that raw hustle that couldn't be faked, and decided to put serious power behind him. With the muscle of BMF backing him, Jeezy suddenly had a whole empire moving in his favor. Meech wasn't just cheering him on, he was opening every door possible. The BMF name carried real weight in both the streets and the industry. They pushed Jeezy's records in every club, funded visuals, and made sure his sound was everywhere you turned. When Jeezy dropped Let's Get It, Thug Motivation 101, it hit like an anthem straight from the block. Every line dripped with authenticity, and songs like Trap or Die and Go Crazy became the soundtrack for hustlers everywhere. Jeezy's rise mirrored BMF's own golden era. When Meech and his crew were living larger than life, their bond wasn't just business, it was loyalty and respect. Jeezy always spoke on how Meech looked out for everyone around him, calling him a real one who treated his circle like family. Meech wasn't just a boss, he was a legend who made everyone around him feel like they were part of something bigger. And nothing showed that energy more than their infamous Cancun trip. Meech didn't roll light. He brought 300 people on a private jet, including Jeezy, for one of the wildest hip-hop vacations ever. Picture it, champagne flowing, pool parties till sunrise, private villas full of music and laughter. It was BMF's world, and Jeezy was right at the center of it. Every single day felt like a movie, and Jeezy was front and center. But he wasn't the only one who saw BMF's power. The whole industry felt it. Even 50 Cent once admitted he was shocked by how deep BMF ran the scene back in 2003. He said when Meech and his crew walked into a club, even Diddy couldn't outshine them. They'd buy out the bar, pop every bottle, and instantly own the room. Their presence was undeniable, but 50 played it smart. He admired Meech's empire from a distance, knowing that anything that big and that loud doesn't last forever. And sure enough, he was right. The feds eventually caught on to what was really fueling BMF's empire. Behind the music and luxury cars was a nationwide operation moving serious weight. Their flashy lifestyle made them a target, and when the crackdown hit, it hit hard. Big Meech and his brother Terry, Southwest T, were arrested, and just like that, one of the most powerful forces in hip-hop crumbled overnight.
So in my words, I just feel like a lot of these cats are actors, rappers, and I'm Jeezy, you know what I'm saying? And they can never be me. But I assure you, I can't speak for everybody, right, but ain't nobody put no hands on me.
I heard that.
Yeah, so I mean, I can't say that for everybody.
That's when things started getting complicated for Jeezy. When times were good, he repped BMF proudly, shouting them out in songs and rocking the brand heavy. But when indictments dropped and the empire fell, some of Meech's people felt like Jeezy disappeared. They accused him of taking what he needed, the fame, the street cred, the shine, then distancing himself when things got messy. Over the years, BMF affiliates stayed divided about it. Some say Jeezy did what he had to do to survive in the industry, while others believe he should have stood by Meech no matter what. Things got real tense. So tense that, according to Jeezy's former right-hand man Clem, there was even a near shootout with a BMF member. Guns were drawn, words were flying, and the whole moment could have turned deadly. But Jeezy stood his ground and refused to fold. Jeezy stood his ground, eyes locked, fearless, daring the man to pull the trigger. Luckily, nobody fired, and the situation didn't go completely left that day. But even after all the tension and years of rumors, Jeezy kept it respectful. Anytime BMF, especially Big Meech, came up, he never denied their bond. In fact, he's always praised Meech, calling him a natural-born leader who changed the culture forever. Still, Jeezy has made one thing crystal clear. He was never part of BMF's street business. He said he and Meech were close, sure. They hung out, they had respect, but that's where it stopped. In Jeezy's words, his success came from his own grind, his music and his hustle, not BMF's operations. The streets might have linked their names, but Jeezy always claimed his lane was different. Then in 2020, the whole situation got stirred up again when Terry Southwest T Flannery got released from prison, and 50 Cent wasted no time jumping into the mix. 50 went online calling out everyone who'd ever been tied to BMF, Jeezy, Diddy, Irv Gotti, basically telling them to check in and pay their respects to Terry for everything BMF did for the culture. Jeezy eventually linked up with Terry but stood firm on his stance. Respect is one thing, debt is another. He said he never moved weight with them and didn't even know Terry personally, only through Meech. Still, that explanation didn't sit right with everyone, especially the ones who felt Jeezy had turned his back on the same crew that once helped lift his name to the top. When the massive BMF trial went down, some people started calling cap on Jeezy's story. His name came up in court after former BMF member Ralphie Sims testified that Jeezy had allegedly received kilos from the crew back in the day. That claim reignited all the old whispers. Was Jeezy deeper in the game than he ever admitted? But not everyone believed that version. J-Bo, one of the real BMF insiders who actually lived that life, stepped up and defended Jeezy. According to him, Jeezy's story was the truth. He wasn't pushing product for BMF. He was just around them, feeding off the energy and using the association to boost his rap image. In J-Bo's words, Jeezy was BMF adjacent, not BMF involved. Meanwhile, on the other side, Rick Ross ended up forming a tight friendship with Big Meech after Meech was locked up. Over time, their bond grew stronger, but it didn't come without drama. Ross's connection to Meech sparked a whole new wave of tension, this time involving Ross, Big Meech, and 50 Cent, dragging the BMF legacy right back into the middle of hip-hop's ongoing power games. And just like that, the cycle of loyalty, beef, and legacy kept spinning, proving that in this game, nothing ever really stays buried for long. What do you think? Was Jeezy really clean like he claims, or was there more to that story? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button, subscribe, share this video, and I'll see you on the next one.